SCP-1762. Object Class Neutralized. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1762-1 is held in a standard containment unit at site. During the periods when SCP-1762-1 releases 1762-2, video logs are to be recorded for future research. Although instances of 1762-2 have been deemed harmless, they should not be allowed to exit their containment unit. Description: SCP-1762-1 is a plain cardboard box that's 32 cm by 20 cm by 26 cm. It is spray-painted silver on the interior and exterior, and the words, "Here be dragons," are handwritten in black permanent marker on the lid of the container. Opening the lid of 1762-1 when it is not in the process of a release reveals it to be empty. SCP-1762-1 will infrequently open and initiate a release of 1762-2. During this time, the box will briefly emit a large amount of black smoke that quickly dissipates. It takes an average of 20 seconds for 1762-2 to emerge after the smoke clears. SCP-1762-2 is the collective term applied to the beings that emerge from 1762-1. All instances of 1762-2 bear resemblance to various types of dragons, in both Eastern and Western depictions, albeit in forms similar to that of origami models. Analysis of 1762-2 reveals that they are composed of kami paper. After exiting 1762-1, instances of 1762-2 will fly together in large groups and interact playfully with any nearby personnel and each other. SCP-1762-2 vary in length from 9 to 30 centimeters. All are capable of sustained flight once they exit 1762-1 and have been recorded attaining speeds of 15 kilometers per hour. The number of 1762-2 varies with each opening of 1762-1, with numbers ranging from 50 to over 400. After approximately 2 to 3 hours of time spent outside SCP-1762-1, all instances of 1762-2 return and fly back into 1762-1. During this time, 1762-1 will once again begin emitting smoke, and instances of 1762-2 will vanish after passing the rim of 1762-1. 1762-1 closes once all 1762-2 have returned to it. The next date of release is inconsistent. A message written or carved into a varying material will sometimes materialize on top of 1762-1's lid once the box retrieves all instances of 1762-2. Attempts to send a message or recording device back with 1762-2 have provided negative results. These documents and their appropriate dates of appearance are being compiled and recorded. Addendum 1762-01. On 20, SCP-1762 began to undergo a series of events that lasted 11 months and 28 days. These events, as well as prior incidents that led up to the beginning of the scenario, have now been classified under the title the Jabberwocky event. Addendum 1762-02. Documentation of the Jabberwocky event. Document 1762-1. Date obtained 2004. This is the first recorded instance of SCP-1762-1 opening while contained at site. You have found us. Thank you. It has been so long since we last saw each other, friends. The peace has been upheld. The giants and behemoths have kept their word. They have not caused any trouble since you last came and gave the order. I miss your company. How has your family been? Do you still know how to work your room? You're welcome to visit anytime. Document 1762-4. Date obtained 2004. It's strange to see how much your world has changed. It is even stranger to see how we now appear in this place. In fantasy, we are much bigger. Or maybe you've grown taller. Fantasy is still the same. We hope you can visit us like you used to. Though our room is as grand as ever, it appears yours has shrunken. We do not understand. The rooms were supposed to be maintained as was our agreement. Please, restore the belief. Document 1762-6. Date obtained 2005. Only 20 instances of 1762-2 appeared during this event. Said instances did not lift off and instead walked slowly on foot for the whole period they were out of 1762-1. Friends, we apologize for our few numbers. We have had to remain in fantasy for quite some time. The others are growing impatient. We are trying to keep the peace, but please, for all of our happiness, repair the room quickly. We know you are trying. Your family is the most imaginative of us all. Document 1762-14. Date obtained 20. Along with 10 instances of 1762-2 appearing, 3 balls of yellowed, crumpled construction paper were expelled from 1762-1. These pieces were observed to shake violently for 5 seconds, then ceased all further movement. They were picked up by 1762-2 and returned to 1762-1. The giants were foolish. Your room was not ready to accept them yet. We're sorry, friends. We hope that we can still see you, but time is growing short for our happiness. Document 1762-15. Date obtained 20. 5 instances of 1762-2 emerged carrying said document. They immediately returned to 1762-1 after depositing it on the floor. Tensions are rising. Fantasy is becoming darker. We, the serpents and the hybrids, are furiously trying to hold them back, but the giants and elves wish to strike and make an entrance. They say that your family has grown stupid and ignorant. We hope this untrue. It would sadden us all greatly to know that you have forgotten. Document 1762-16. Date obtained 20. A single red instance of 1762-2 emerged from 1762-1. Its wings were torn and it noticeably crumpled. It collapsed onto the floor 1 minute later and did not move again. Upon its expiration, the body of 1762-2 rapidly unfolded and revealed a message written on the white side of the paper. War. Goodbye, friends. 2 hours later, 1762-1 opened and emitted flames that reached 2 meters in height and temperatures of 1,700 degrees Celsius. Sounds of distant roaring were heard within 1762-1. At 2000 hours, a large amount of torn paper pieces and paper balls were ejected from 1762-1. Several damaged 1762-2 were expelled and deemed deceased upon examination. 1762-1 continued to sporadically open and close for the next 6 weeks. During this time, it continued to emit fire as the amount of paper discharged from it steadily increased. Matter resembling muscle and tissue was continuously expelled from 1762 at increasing frequency. 1762-1 remained closed and inactive for the next 7 months. Document 1762-17. Date obtained 20. This document was discovered lying inside the interior of 1762-1. It was written on parchment, and many of the words have been blurred or stained with blood. Are you still out there, friends? We miss you dearly. Fantasy is no longer safe, our haven. Your beautiful creation is gone. The giants are dead, the centaurs are dead, the birds have fled. We're going to bury your room. We cannot risk hurting you. This is our goodbye. Maybe one day your family can build another room. This may be a hollow hope, but we will cherish the thought. 1 hour later, 1762-1 began to shake and emit smoke for 15 minutes, after which it began to sag and collapse. Several portions of the box began to char and tear, creating small burn holes throughout. The words, "Here be dragons," on the lid of the box were burned away. Document 1762-18. Date obtained 20. This is the final message obtained from 1762-1. It is written in ink on a papyrus scroll and also depicted a scene of a painted, mountainous landscape filled with large trees and waterfalls. A single winged dragon can be seen in the background. It appears to be flying away. The message is written in black ink on the bottom right-hand corner. Master says that we won't see you again. We are sad. So are the remaining others. We once filled each other's heads with dreams and goals. It is so sad that we can't share them any longer. Master says we have to go. He says that he will make us a new fantasy, and he says that you cannot be a part of it. We're sad. We love you. We will not forget you. We're scared. Will you forget us? Upon removal of document 1762-18, salt water began to leak from 1762-1, and the burn marks that covered the container began to disappear. 3 minutes later, 1762-1 had been restored to its original state. The words, "Here be dragons," were replaced with the words, "Here were dragons." The Jabberwocky event concluded with this occurrence. Addendum 3. Since the end of the Jabberwocky event, 1762-1 has been shown to have no further anomalous properties and has been declared neutralized. 1762-1 and 3 deceased instances of 1762-2 now reside in researcher Yoshihiro Takinaka's office for commemorative purposes. After nearly 8 years of inactivity, researcher Takinaka reported that SCP-1762-1 began emitting purple smoke and spontaneously opened at 2300 hours, falling to the floor. It dislodged a single chunk of crystal, later identified to be amethyst, and a large leather-bound book. The contents of this book appear to detail various species that once lived within the world of 1762-2. Though, from what the author has written, all organisms mentioned are likely extinct. The book is now classified as 1762-BOL-1. The amethyst crystal had the following words carved into it. "One last time." After falling, 1762-1 continuously emitted smoke for the next 40 minutes before ceasing all activity. Upon trying to pick up 1762-1, Takinaka reported that the box proceeded to disintegrate upon touching it. Its remains are now kept in a containment capsule in his office.